I'm Gary Thomas here again with Dr. Steve Wilke. We wrote the Sacred Search Couples Conversation Guide. Steve, the first chapter we have in there, I know you really wanted this, is called the Pre-Engagement Punchlist. Some things you want to get to right at the start. But what should a man or woman do if the person they're interested in marrying doesn't like the idea of going through premarital or pre-engagement counseling?
Well, the whole point of the book, and the whole point to pre-engagement counseling, and the whole point to when our co-author, Dr. Wilke, came up with that punch list and recommended it for us to start the book, was that if we're not ready to have those conversations regarding the most important interpersonal decision we're going to make on this planet, then that probably is a sign of things to come, which would give you pause or me pause in terms of marital satisfaction, longevity, and the things that are important to us as couples. So we started with that and think it's a pretty important contention that all couples go through that process.
I think what we found is that if you'll go through the work prior to getting married, what you do is you make the marriage day even more filled with joy. Because you've worked with the issues, you've worked through the doubts, you can have a greater degree of confidence. This is a relationship that's been tested. How much better to test the relationship before you get married than to find out what you're dealing with after you get married? Isn't that what a lot of couples do?
We do. We're at spring training time for baseball fans out there. And it's always incredulous to me to see grown men, some of them making hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars a month, playing a boys' game. But they're taking ground balls, they're hitting the cutoff man, they're moving the runner, hitting the opposite field. And why do 32-year-old men who have done this since they were 5 or 6? And the purpose is because that 6 or 8 weeks give them an opportunity to prepare for 162 games, which I think is a great analogy for what we need to be doing. Pro athletes are doing that, certainly. In our marriages, preparing for them, we can do that. And so we're big fans of that, and that's where the 9 Conversations for a Doubt-Free Wedding Day was a passion of our hearts and why we wrote that.
I would say that if you're afraid to test the relationship, or you're marrying someone else who's afraid to test the relationship, that really questions whether you're marriage material at all. So we hope you'll be thoughtful about the person you're thinking about marrying, because it really is the second most important decision you could ever make. Thanks for joining us.